This is the Conspit FP-Lite, and I think it's the best looking sim racing cockpit I've ever owned. You've probably never heard or seen it before, unless you saw it on my Instagram story and liked it, because a lot of people did, and that's what I think is the biggest upside of it. It looks insane. Made by a Chinese company known as Conspit, the FP-Lite, among several of their sim racing products, are primarily sold in the Chinese market, but are slowly making their way to the US and Europe. They've kindly provided it to me for review, so today I'll be telling you all the good, the bad, and whether the Conspit FP-Lite could be for you. Looking for great deals on sim racing hardware? Make sure to check out simspots.com, where all of the best deals on sim racing, PC, and gaming peripherals are posted daily. Literally, the site is completely free to use, free of ads, and just lets you know of discounted sim racing hardware for you to save some cash. Get into sim racing or upgrade your gear today at simspots.com. Starting with the positives, there's lots to like about the FP-Lite. Designed to perfectly mimic a Formula seating position, this chassis does a great job with a sleek, minimalist, and modern design that, when paired with an ultra-wide monitor, looks like an absolute spaceship. Unlike nearly every other sim racing cockpit, this one is designed to only be used in a Formula seating position, and thanks to its uniquely shaped seat and the placement of the wheels and pedals, once you're fully sat in there, the immersion factor is definitely high. Talking about the seat, it's seemingly made from a single hard shell with a sleek blue finish on the back and specially formed curves and grooves to comfortably fit your body. And I must say, despite it having no padding whatsoever, due to the position that you're seated at and the shape of the seat which hugs you in place, it is surprisingly comfortable, and I've even watched my 2-hour class lectures while seated on there since it's such a comfortable place to be. Though it is definitely hard to get in and out of the seat, it does come with a seat slider that has worked well every time. Now, unlike traditional aluminum profile rigs which come in several parts with T-nuts and bolts everywhere, the Conspit FP-Lite comes in only a few big parts, which took me no more than an hour to fully assemble. Mounting my gear onto it was also straightforward with ample mounting holes which will fit nearly all major hardware. Unfortunately, my cube control pedals did not perfectly align with the mounting holes on the pedal plate, but I was still able to somehow make it work. Now, something unique about the Conspit FP-Lite is that it comes included with a small bass shaker module, which when connected to the Conspit software will provide in-game vibrations to add immersion and let you know when you've locked up, are losing grip, etc. It's important to know that this software is still in beta and definitely has a long way to go, so it doesn't yet work on all games, and its current functionality is fairly limited. Despite that, it is still a cool and unique addition that, when fully developed, should be a very neat feature. A few optional accessories are also available for this rig, some of which I would certainly recommend more than others. In my opinion, the most important accessory will be the headrest, which bolts onto the back of the seat and will hold your neck and head in place with an extremely soft foam padding. In my opinion, this is something that should come included, as from my experience, without the headrest, the cockpit was nearly unusable as my neck would quickly get strained. Regardless, the headrest is well designed and definitely adds to the futuristic look and cool factor of this rig. Another key accessory will be the monitor mount, which is surprisingly adjustable and will allow you to mount your display at the perfect position. I would highly recommend this accessory, as with a cockpit like this that sits so low, finding a monitor stand that will work with it will be extremely difficult. And finally, an optional keyboard tray and shifter mount are also available, although those are not necessarily needed and add more of a nice thing to have rather than anything else. Regardless, ripping through the Nordschleife in an H-pattern vintage Formula 1 car has been one of the most fun experiences I've had yet. And talking about fun, on track, this cockpit has delivered just that. Though you are severely limited in only being in this one seating position, when you're ripping through a track in an open-wheeler car, the fun factor and immersion is high up there, and it's something most traditional GT seated cockpits cannot mimic. However, due to the way the Conspit FP-Lite is designed and who it's made for, there are certainly some compromises that will have to be made and a lot of important things to know before getting too excited. For starters, this cockpit is not made for everyone. In essence, just as a tall and large man will not fit in a real Formula 1 car, he will also not fit in this rig. Ultimately, it's tight and designed for shorter people who are able to easily fiddle themselves in and out of the seat. So if you're a 6'4", 200-pound man, you're out of luck. And if you're on the older side and not as flexible as you once were, you will struggle a lot in getting in and out. It definitely hurts for me to say this, but it's simply the honest truth. So just be wary of your ability to not only fit, but consistently be getting in and out of it. I'm lucky in the sense that I'm fairly young, skinny, and not too tall, so it's pretty much designed for someone like me. Another big drawback of this rig will be its lack of adjustability and compatibility, especially when compared to aluminum profile rigs. What I'm trying to say here is that in an aluminum profile rig, you can practically mount anything you want wherever you want. Butt kickers, phone holders, cup holders, wind simulators, motion actuators, etc. You will not have to even think about it with a traditional aluminum profile rig. But with a cockpit like this one, which is designed for one purpose only, you definitely won't have that vast flexibility if that's something that's important to you. Similarly, many small adjustments, for example the distance of the shifter mount, cannot be made, and others in the distance and placement of the wheelbase and pedals can be made but will require a bit more tinkering than usual. Now as for the flex, using a 200 kg load cell brake pedal, some can be seen in the pedal deck. However, it's important to note that I had my pedals mounted at the very end of it, which probably doesn't help. Regardless, some flex is visible, which is not too ideal, but none that was substantial enough for me to notice in game. As for the wheel deck, no major flex is felt or seen in game. Some can be seen when moving the wheel up and down, but that's an unrealistic movement that you won't really be making out on track. Where I probably found the most notable flex was on the shifter mount, which is quite thin, and as I aggressively shifted, did provide some play, so that's probably where it would need a bit more refinement. And finally, though not necessarily a drawback, it's definitely important to consider the limitations you'll have when using a dedicated Formula-style cockpit such as this one. Essentially, a Formula-style wheel is the only you'll be able to use, as a larger round wheel will likely hit your knees. Similarly, it would likely feel weird to do any kind of rallying, drifting, or GT driving when seated in this position. So as cool as it is, there will definitely be some compromises that you should be aware of. In conclusion, the Conspit FP-Lite emerges as a strikingly aesthetic and immersive sim racing cockpit, particularly catering to enthusiasts of Formula-style racing. Its sleek, modern design and unique Formula seating position undoubtedly elevate the experience. The inclusion of a base shaker module, albeit in its beta software phase, along with optional accessories like the headrest and monitor mount, further enhance its appeal and functionality. However, the cockpit is not without its limitations and potential drawbacks. Its specific design and size constraints may not accommodate all users. Additionally, the lack of adjustability and compatibility when compared with traditional aluminum profile rigs might pose a challenge for sim racers who desire a more versatile setup. Some flex in various components like the pedal deck and shifter mount also warrant consideration and potential future refinement by Conspit. Ultimately though, the FP-Lite stands out as a specialized piece of sim racing equipment, offering a uniquely immersive and visually stunning experience for those who are willing to navigate its limitations. So for those who absolutely prioritize the look of your setup and only want the Formula racing experience, the FP-Lite could indeed be a compelling option to explore in the sim racing world. As for me, the absolutely stunning look of this cockpit is enough for me to want to keep it, and have it be the new cockpit I place in my bedroom. So this will definitely not be the last time you see it in this channel. As always, let me know your thoughts on the Conspit FP-Lite, and as always, thank y'all for watching, stay safe, and have a fantastic rest of your day.